additional participation from other organizations, it raises the threshold for participation, and we're able to send quite a few children to camp at no cost to the families.
Great, thank you.
Are they going to be able to do code 3 in San Miguel?
We typically will run lights down Mission Street in a parade, and then when we get onto 16th Street, we'll turn the sirens on, then run the sirens through. We converge on the basketball courts in the back there where the bleachers are, and the children come out. And we have burn survivors present as well. She's one of the managers for probably the main point of contact for the camp, for Champ Camp, and it's a great event, and we look forward to it every year.
It is a really cool event. People should get out and watch them come through town. It's a lot of counties, partly by the cities and counties.
It's about 9 a.m.
You know how many participants this year?
That I don't know. The change of guard occurred. Brian Leathers from 5 Cities Fire Authority was the point of the North County Bird Relay for decades, and he's retired. So now it's a firefighter intelligent who's picking up the baton and running with it. But typically we have support for everybody in the North County area. That includes Morro Bay, Cambria, and the likes, all the way down to Santa Maria. And then it ends up at the Farmers Market in San Luis Obispo. So that's a big fire prevention week gathering, and there's a presentation of checks at that event. And one year, believe it or not, I allowed TV personality to shave my mustache off for the money. So it was the first time I didn't have a mustache since I was 13. There's one photo that exists.
Any other board comment? Right. We have a motion.
I make a motion.
I will second.
Motion by Director Green, second by Director Beatty.
For consent calendar, items 9.1, 2, and 3. On the vote, Director Green?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 5-0, no absent.
Okay, move on to board action items. Item number 1, monthly claim detail and investment reports for August 2025.
Yeah, the report is submitted. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Can you do it?
What's that?
Monthly claim?
Yes, that's where we're at.
I have a question for page 64, line 820. This is September, right? August, September. So there's a $500 cleanup deposit. Shouldn't that be committed by now?
It should be. It hasn't been. They usually send me a notification saying that they would like their cleanup deposit back, and I haven't received that notification from TNT yet. But when they request it, then they'll give us an invoice and we'll process it.
I'm sorry, I got confused there. Who has to request it?
TNT. It's a cleanup bond for the fireworks. And TNT has not requested it yet.
Do they make the deposit?
Yes.
Oh, well, should it be committed by now then?
So the deposit is sitting as a liability. So we've received.
If there's not a proper cleanup, which I observed wasn't, then the $500 is no longer a deposit. It's now,
So what
it now becomes committed to the district,
What you're looking at is a budget item.
right?
So whether we spend $1 or $10 million, it's still just a budget item. So if we don't spend anything, that $500 will still remain on that budget. It's just not being spent. That amount will only be refunded with proper approval of the fire chief. So
Okay.
we haven't received that. So it's
All right, well, it's just in my opinion that if the cleanup isn't done in a timely manner, and it obviously wasn't because there's all kinds of complaints about it, then the $500 should be committed to the district, and we either come up with a plan to find somebody that wants to pick up trash for $500 next year and go that way, or something with it. Otherwise, there's no point in collecting $500 deposit and just leaving it in the system year after year after year. That's not a deposit.
It usually gets reimbursed upon submittal of invoice. And the cleanup deposit, to be clear, is just for the fireworks booth and the immediate area around the fireworks booth. So it's for TNT to remove all of their products. And then typically, firefighters and public, we go down or up, say up, the street and collect all the debris that's in the open area and deposit it into the dumpster that Savville Garbage provides.
Okay.
We do the best we can to collect everything, but we can't get it all.
Okay, so there's no actual cleanup like there used to be back in the day?
That's the process that happens. And when I was out on July 5th,
It used to be that two groups drew a map and each group was responsible to clean up half the town. But I guess that's gone. All right, thank you.
Page 57. Top 5 general operating expenses. Fourth generation tree, district tree trimming, 8,400. What trees are they trimming?
So they cleaned up the trees downtown. They cleaned up a lot of the trees along the property line of the wastewater treatment plant. That was the majority of that cost. And they also cleaned up some trees along the road to our to the main water tank. They did dead tree removal and trimmed 2 of the trees that were on the side of the hill that were becoming a hazard.
Okay. I remember seeing that expense before. Is it happening every few years or?
Mission Street happens generally once a year to some degree or another. The work that was at the treatment plant is like every 3 or 4 years. And this is the first time we've ever done anything with the tank road.
Okay.
Can I take a spin off of that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting off the subject, but when that tree trimming contract for Mission Street comes up, I would like to get consensus from the board to revise it to the branches being removed to the level above the street lighting. It seems like every light has a tree blocking. I've said this over and over again. But if they could just raise the trees to the height of the lights, then the lights would work. And the trees would still look beautiful. Because every year they get taller and taller.
So it's not something that the board has to act on based on our previous discussions. That's already planned going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further from the board? No. Do we have any public comment on this item? We do not. Motion that we receive and file.
Just consensus?
No consensus.
Davis?
Yes.
Green?
Yeah.
Smiley?
Yes.
Brennan?
Yes.
And Spencer?
Yes.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, item number 2, 2025 Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, alternate board of director election.
This item is to review candidates and vote to elect no more than 1 candidate by board consensus and authorize the general manager designee to vote on behalf of the district. In your packet, there is the election notice from LAFCO. The 3 options are Owen Davis of our board, John Joyce of the C.S.D, and Justin Smith, Cayuga Sanitary District. So the board can elect to vote for one of those individuals or none of those individuals and directs us to vote on, to file that vote on behalf of the district.
Thank you. Board comments? Board comment?
Can I nominate myself?
You're nominated.
But we need public comment.
When you're in the board package.
Yeah, I think.
After public comment. Okay, no comment from the board. Is there public comment on this item? No. So you may make a motion, Director Davis.
I make a motion to nominate myself.
Second.
Okay.
Second. I'll vote you.
Second by Director Smiley?
No.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-1, 0 absent.
Okay, item 4. Censure of Director Smiley, Resolution 2025.
No, you're correct. Number 3.
My apologies, number 3. Discussion on proposed district facility use policy by Resolution 2025-40.
So the board has requested a discussion and draft of a policy for use of district property. The board has not had such a policy, and there has been some general unauthorized use historically, a lot of events that have just occurred in past practice for it to continue on. The board has asked for a draft policy to authorize such uses and limit them to specific types of uses. And so what we have in front of you is a rough draft policy for the board to review and comment on and suggest any changes to. Typically, a public property use policy is necessary unless you want every single use to come to the board to authorize. Otherwise, it could be considered a gift of public funds, or there could be disparate treatment in uses of public property. So it is recommended that the board have some kind of policy in place and some kind of standard practice of how folks apply to utilize district property, and keep in mind that there are limitations on the district's ability to limit uses when you allow use of district property, so that you are not infringing on First Amendment rights. So you can't, for instance, say that you're going to allow use of district property, but there can't be any political uses, because that is a content-based restriction and is illegal. You can, though, say that there will be no uses that allow alcohol or sales of alcohol or ticketed activities or things of that nature. So the suggestion is that you review the policy in front of you and provide any suggested revisions or further discussion items. Or if you like the policy as is. I will note it does contemplate a deposit to be provided to cover district costs related to cleanup, or if there's any kind of barriers that need to be put in place. It's all going to depend on the type of event and use that is there, and so you won't see a specific fee, because at this time, depending on the use, it's unknown what the direct cost to the district would be, and by law, you are limited to charging only those direct costs. You can't gain income from allowing use of district property.
That all makes sense. I would say that framing it as a security deposit is, to me, seems a little light. So I guess where I'm going with that comment is that it seems like if someone gives a security deposit, the expectation is that whoever paid the security deposit will get it back, because it's a deposit. So I didn't see anything in here that was labeled like cost recovery. If, for example, they have something where it requires barricades, so we have staff and other personnel installing barricades for certain places, keeping those staff active for the time of the event, and then putting said barricades away, there's a cost to that to the district. So I didn't see anything to outline anything that was specific to cost recovery. I'm not saying we're not going to make money, but we're simply covering our staff time during that event. So I would like to see something that reflected that.
So a separation between the potential, like the cleanup costs, things that they're responsible for, that the deposit would cover, and they won't get a refund if they don't take care of those things, versus we know there will be staff costs.
Right.
And so we can have a provision for cost recovery.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because it's a public building, I'd love to see the fact that people can use it without being charged. But as I actually spoke of, firefighters have to move the engines out and put them somewhere, put them back. So I don't know if that's something that you could ask a volunteer to do. I think that very likely it should be that they're paid, somebody's paid for their time to go down and facilitate that on a volunteer basis. They can volunteer to do that, pick up a few dollars for their time. And then the cleanup is simple, it's just if they don't leave it as they found it, then a deduction is made to cover whatever it is, and, give them an hourly rate for whatever volunteer would be paid to conduct that activity.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm understanding your reference to a volunteer. It would be district staff.
It's a volunteer fire department, isn't it?
Right, well, yeah, but they would be getting paid for their time for that. But it's not just the fire department, so this contemplates in the future any other district property being utilized as well.
When I say volunteer, I mean, I wouldn't want the fire chief to walk up to somebody and say, hey, Saturday, you've got to do this. I would rather it get flown for somebody to want to volunteer to come down and do that, to do the things that need to be done to facilitate the property for whatever the use is going to be.
So just to clarify that point, so if we have a paid call firefighter who's there at an event, that's outside the scope of being paid for a call, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
we can put language in there that allows for cost recovery for whatever the cost is to the district to facilitate that rental.
Yeah.
So whether that's moving engines out or clearing a room or whatever it is, so there would be a cost for that. So we can put language in there to get that aspect.
And if a volunteer wants to volunteer and do it for free, that's okay too.
I would have to look at the legality of somebody moving a fire engine
Yeah, it'd have to
on
be
a
something
volunteer
checked out.
basis. I don't know that we can do that. There's liability associated with that.
Volunteers don't move fire trucks when they're not on call. They do all the time. They're here tonight.
They move the equipment if they're checked off to move the equipment.
Right.
So it'd have to be somebody who has a certification to move, we have, the smaller truckers can be moved by anybody, but the larger vehicles need to be certified.
But volunteers do move equipment without being paid all the time.
So my understanding is that as a public agency, we can't ask somebody to do something for free that we would normally have paid them to do.
It's volunteer.
I don't make the rules.
I'm just saying, you can pay them if you want, but if a volunteer wants to volunteer,
No, I think we're off the subject here, but I think the purpose was to make sure that we can get the costs incurred by the district back from who may be renting whatever property that may be.
That's perfect.
I think the other insurance requirement section, it's just requiring a certificate of insurance naming the district as additional insured. There's no request for any endorsements or waivers of subrogation. I think we should include those.
Oh, wait, I think there is a specific agreement they have to sign, which is a waiver and release that's referenced in the policy.
So, since we're talking about this, it sounds mostly like buildings. We do have some outdoor space. And how do we address that?
Well, outdoor space is going to be the same as a building. There has to be an assessment of what the type of event is and what the potential cost to the district would be for utilization of that property.
Well, I know that there's use of that property now.
But there shouldn't be unless it's for district purposes.
There are signs out there that have been out there for 35 years that are on district property. That is part of district, use of district property. So before we go anywhere with all of this, we need to address that as well, because people have been posting signs out here. I mean, it's practically an easement for people to put things up.
I think then the question would be not whether that falls under this policy, but it would be another item, a future item,
use
so
of
as the
district
board,
property.
whether the board wants to continue to allow that sign to exist there. Because signs are going to be a different type of use that are regulated in a different manner. Because you're allowing people to post whatever they want on that board, from what I understand at this point. And if you want to regulate that or remove the sign, that's
No,
a
I don't
different
think they should.
subject.
Those belong to the community. They shouldn't, they're not regulated. Nobody owns them. They were donated to the community.
So
They're not under anybody's jurisdiction, but they're on our property.
So they are under your jurisdiction then, because they're on your
Okay,
property.
so then it needs to be included in this.
This
It's
isn't
use of
overall-
district- It's use of district property.
It's a different kind of use that would not fall under this
But why
policy
don't we just
though.
incorporate it in this?
It would not be possible to incorporate it into
All right,
this
well, then let's,
policy.
I'm gonna move that we bring this back with, whatever covers everything at the same time.
So we have to be separate agreement.
Bring it back at the same time.
So
That we
this-
know that everything's being covered.
As a separate policy.
And that's fine. Bring this back at the same time as that.
So to be clear, this is a general policy to apply to all district property,
I understand that.
understanding that those signs exist on district leased property, which is under the same purview. So we can bring something back for those signs specifically.
That's great. I requested this to be tabled. I make a motion.
We need to have
Still further discussion.
I have a question before we bring the other one back for the signs. Are we addressing this sign on this property specifically, or are you wanting there to be a policy that allows signs on all district property?
No, I'm talking about property that has been used by the community for the last at least 35 years.
That specific.
Right, so it's specific to this one site.
Well, yeah, but I mean, no, they shouldn't be able to get down to the sewer pond and put a sign up.
Well, no one can go there anyways, but that, I mean, this, I'm just clarifying that this policy is specific to this one sign on this one property, this
No, it's
one
not one sign on
location.
one property. There's multiple signs.
The same set of signs on that one property.
I'll send you a picture.
I think I know what Director Green is talking about. And that's the signs down on the corner of,
Yeah, I think we're all talking about the
I
same.
understand what you're talking about, I just want to make sure I understand the limitation.
There's no confusion, we're just trying to determine whether you're talking about only those signs, or you want to have a policy that covers any sign on any district property. So it sounds like it's just the signs on.
Right now, I'm just addressing what the public has been using.
Okay.
And should be allowed to continue to
Okay,
use.
we'll bring something back addressing those signs.
Okay, thank you.
but we also need, council, we also need to get in there, because I've posted signs there before, and the fire chief didn't like it, and they tore them down.
Not allowed to do that.
That's a
Yeah.
different topic.
That is, I think that's the same topic, and it will be
Yeah.
discussed with this, what the specific parameters are for the policy for these signs on
Yeah.
this property.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring that back and we can make
Okay.
sure that that's covered as part of that.
Monopolize the discussion. No, I agree with that. Okay. Now, the one thing I'm not really seeing, and I know this was a point of contention when we initially brought this topic, was having the board aware of district use. I'm not seeing where the board is either approving or aware of the use prior to it actually happening. Some of the things that you're talking about, the application process, no less than 7 days, which obviously does not align with having the board approve it, or even having knowledge of it. So from that perspective, what?
So that's the question, is that the resolution at this point delegates authority for approvals to staff, but if the board wants to approve every application, then we can revise the draft policy so that the board's approving every application, or the board can receive a list of uses on a monthly basis at the meetings. It's however you guys want to receive the information, or how far you want to take the authority, or whether you want to delegate it. It's totally up to you guys.
Be brought back.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would want to chew on that. It's going to come back anyway.
Yes.
I can do that while it's away. So we only comment would be, again, the insurance requirements. There's nothing specific as far as endorsements or any waiver of subrogation for the insurance. It's just listing us as additional insured. I don't think that's quite enough. So I would want to see something like that. And
Waiver of subrogation.
yeah. And the other, and then of course the cost recovery. Is there any public comment on this item?
Becky Jones, I drive all over the streets and stuff, but sitting back here, it's very confusing to know exactly what signs are you guys talking about. The only post signs that I can see that is on the corner of 11th and Mission. And we see signs there, but we see 4th of July stuff, but you're not indicating exactly what signs you guys are talking about, because I can sit here and I can tell you, I wouldn't have no clue what signs you guys are talking about.
You want to see a picture?
I know where it is.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking if that's the one you guys are indicating, because there's no streets to indicate what ones you're talking about. That sign, I think I've been here for about 10, 12 years now, and it's a sign that when people do come into town, and if you post things that are going on in town, it's a very good way for people to see what's going on. There is banners when they do have things going on, but I think that sign alone is just very good to the public to let people know what's going on. People do walk and drive, and that's the first thing they see when they get into downtown. So it shouldn't matter who, where, what property. It's just a good sign for people to see what's going on. If something happened, it's just a good way for people to know. So that's my opinion.
I think that the objective is, I think, Director Healy, not speaking for you, but wants to ensure that the use of the signs is not limited, continues and is not limited.
Right. It should be open to the public. It's to the public for acknowledgement.
I think my wife and I put those signs up, the big one, in 1994.
I'm glad they're still there because, like I said, when I drive down and people post things, if they're
Maybe sooner than that.
just, it's just a good way for people to see what's going on or
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So it's the sign when you're coming into town right there before the fire park. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there any other public comment? There is none. All right. We'll give you the direction to staff.
I have a question.
please,
My name is Robin Johnson. I'm the homeowner of 675 15th Street here in San Diego. I just have a question. What properties are district properties for the public to use? This, I don't know exactly what properties. Like buildings,
Primarily, I think it would just be, at this point, the fire station.
fire station. Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right. Enough direction was given to staff.
So we had a motion to table it, but we never had a second, or if we did, I didn't hear it.
I made a motion to table it. Things got a little complicated after that. This is the first reading, so it's got to come back
It
anyway.
was coming back for changes anyway, so it'll be back probably next month.
So it can be handled through direction to staff if we want to bring it back with a use policy on the signs.
Can we bring this back in November? I'd like to make that request.
That's the direction of the board, I mean,
Ask for consensus.
Fine by me.
Fine with me.
That would give the time to incorporate. The other thing I was asking for, there's no rush.
direction given to staff done.
yeah.
Yeah, November. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 4, Central Director Smiley Resolution 2025-30.
So, this item has been tabled from July, and then the board originally had a discussion of what it considered to be violations of board policy by Director Smiley, and there was direction to council to bring back a formal resolution. And so this formal resolution has been brought back to the board for consideration for either approval or rejection.
Board comments?
I have something to agree with. The allegations set forth in this resolution are an attack on my character. They're not true, taken out of context. Even some of the original allegations they had in there had to claw back because they were not true, and I called them on it. But before this even began, there was hostility from Director Sangster and Green from the audience when they were out there. So I knew they were hostile toward me to begin with when I started on the board. And they consider, if I have a counter argument to theirs, that's considering arguing and being disrespectful. I completely reject this. If they move forward with it, I already have hired counsel. We will be bringing a suit against the district and doing these directors individually. We'll depose them and make them prove their allegations. And I'm waiting to see what the board's going to do. That's all I have.
Yep.
Take public comment first. Public comment.
Board first. Any other board comment at the moment?
Yes, I have a comment. You know, unfortunately, even on this board and out in, some of the staff and so on, if they don't get their way, they start saying, well, I'm going to sue you. I don't like that. If we went over we censored Director Smiley, we went all over the information and everything, and it was voted to have him censored. And so, to me, it's very immature, very unfair to the people in the district that he has the nerve to sue the district. It's your money. And to me, it's pretty childish. So that's what I got to say.
So I'd like to say, unfortunately, that this is the second board member in recent years that is involved in suing this district. And I have to